going. Yeah, so if you,
We're just gonna do this.
yeah,
We're
that's a,
gonna
that's a
do
new,
the platform. How's everyone doing?
before we go.
Yeah.
So you see that with,
Welcome.
you see
Welcome.
That with,
Alright, so we're gonna give you guys a little overview of IRL streaming basics and how we're doing it. Welcome to IRL. First of all, there's tech issues all the time if you're gonna be an IRL streamer. Everything always seems to go wrong with your technology. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, wait, I'm
There we go.
maybe.
It's fixed.
So, to give you guys a basic overview, my name is Evilitho. I have been live streaming for about 17 years now. Started IRL back in 2015 when the Gun Run Backpack originally started. Invested all in that. And then I have my two wonderful hosts with me. If they want to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Subatomics. I've been doing IRL for about 2 years now. I've been streaming probably like 6 years, but I started in the IRL game probably like 2 years ago. Basically like a phone stream and stuff, and then kind of resorted to something like a backpack, what this fine gentleman here is wearing right now. We got a duty.
I'm Duty Beard. I've been doing IRL kind of here and there for years since I started streaming in like 2016. Also on a phone. And the only reason I haven't done it more starting is because I really don't like phone streaming. And yeah, so now I do it all the time. I stream Disneyland a lot. I like to go to parks. We go to food festivals and events all the time. And yeah, it's really fun. Los Angeles is fun to stream in.
So one of the biggest things people usually ask is, what do you want to IRL stream, and like, why do you want to IRL stream? So if you guys want to cover what IRL streaming and what you enjoy about it.
Yeah, I feel like this is kind of a list that we made of just different things to stream, but you know, the real question to ask yourselves is like, why do you want to IRL stream? Do you want to just vlog yourself? I call it super life vlogging, when you're just vlogging every inch of your life, like getting up, getting clean, going out, doing menial errands and stuff. Do you want to IRL stream big events, concerts, parks like we like to go to and everything, or do you want to just like make it like a sometimes thing, a sub goal, something like that? But yeah, you know, there's all sorts of different reasons to IRL stream. But yeah, here's a bunch of little things, little lists that we put together. I guess you can always pick many or as many as you want out of that list and be like, yeah, I like that, because you can really IRL stream anything. You can do like weird menial stuff. I had a friend who used to just stream himself secretly at work while his coworkers didn't know. This was in like 2016 or 2017.
Yeah, you can basically do anything that you can possibly can. For example, going fishing, going to Universal, going to Disneyland, doing like hitchhiking streams, walking around London, walking around Huntington Beach. I mean, the world is yours basically when you're doing IRL streaming.
I got really into IRL when I wanted to turn around and stream truck driving and all that. That's actually where I got most of my audience. I used to live stream driving over the road. And from there, it was pretty much just expanding the equipment to be able to do whatever I could do to be able to show people around and everything. So like live streaming isn't just boiled down to just walking around, going to conventions and all that. You can literally stream whatever you want. There's people who will stream their whole entire lives these days and all that. So.
Yeah, just going back, I like to stream kind of, if I can, being the first at something. It's kind of like a big purpose of mine. A long time ago when Rick and Morty was brand new and they introduced the Szechuan sauce thing, we were just like, me and my friend were just randomly streaming, and we said, you know what would be funny if we camped out at one of those McDonald's and you know, we waited for the Szechuan sauce. And it was all, we went to one of those Los Angeleses that got shut down by the police and everything. And I just happened to be IRL streaming it. It's like deep in my VODs, but it's in there. But yeah, I like being there at big events, at big, you know, I'd consider that a cultural event because it was very big. But I like to be there. So as far as purpose, you know, if that fits into your repertoire of, you know, why you IRL stream thing, yeah, that's my life.
So one of the main things that people used to talk about is trying to get into IRL, which is the whole point of this panel, is to basically give you a general understanding of what you can do to be able to get into IRL, the easiest ways to do it. One of the basic things you can do to be able to get into IRL streaming is just use a cell phone, because everyone has cell phones these days. They've actually gotten really, really good quality, and most big content creators are streaming off of just their cell phones these days. There are a bunch of different pros and cons when it comes to the streaming on either choosing phone or a wonderful backpack, which we'll go over later. But one of the nice things is that there's plenty of apps out there that allow you to basically just pick up your phone and go live instantly and all that. You guys want to add anything to?
Yeah, I kind of do like phone streaming from here on then. It just depends on what I'm feeling like. One thing I really do like about doing phone streaming is like, you know, very lightweight, very easy. You can literally just bring a phone and just a charging cable and you can just do whatever you can. One thing I don't like about doing phones, for me, it doesn't feel like kind of like professional in a way. What I like about the backpack, you can just put on like a little shoulder mount and everything, but with like phones, if you want to do like something fun and quick, I'd probably go with phones.
I totally respect phone streamers. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I personally, what you'll learn from being an IRL streamer is that problems happen so, like any kind of streaming, problems happen so randomly that you can, 9 out of 10 chances are, kind of fix. But with phone streaming, it's a lot harder to kind of fix those on-the-spot challenges. The crashing of an app, for example, if you're just relying on your phone, stream is done, you get the email, great stream, you did a great job, and I'm like, wait, what happened? I didn't know I wasn't even live. But at the same time, phone streaming has really evolved to, so you don't have to spend a lot of money on building a backpack. You can kind of just spend a little extra on upgrading your phone stream and, you know, making it work for you. Personally, I really respect Sub because if we can't get the backpacks in, he'll just be like, oh, it's okay, I got my phone. I just can't do that life anymore. I really hate being out there and like getting the community rallied up for this stream and then it's out, or like phone service sucks, or like my phone is too hot to stream at that very moment. I was about to invest in like a phone cooler and all this extra battery stuff and, you know, all that extra stuff. But so I realized it wasn't for me. But phone streaming certainly has evolved. Our friend Madrea Starr has like a really interesting double phone stream. They explained it to me, but it goes over my head, and they have a perfect stream every single time with alerts and overlays. And
So I'm glad you brought that up because when it comes to phone streaming, there are many different ways to do it. You have different apps out there. Some, depending on what type of phone you're using, is better. These days, when it comes to IRL streaming off your phone, Android is superior because it allows for more capabilities when it comes to the access to the phone and camera, because Apple usually turns around and puts limits on things. But then again, not everyone has an Android or wants to go pay $1,000 for an Android, so they just want to use their iPhone. Which is why we also have on here the options for apps that you can be able to use. A lot of it boils down to typically just doing most of your little research, but we hopefully have it to be able to help you out here and all that. The perks of using an Android over an iPhone is the fact that most people these days when they stream, if you watch anyone like Ginny or anything like that, they're using IRL Pro, and that's the app they're mainly using. The nice thing about that is he was talking about connectivity and all that, you get access to data bonding. That is the main thing that people seek when it comes to IRL streaming, is being able to take multiple cell services and bond them together to make one coherent signal. And a lot of the iPhone apps don't fully support that, or they put it behind a paywall. Beyond that, when it comes to any sort of IRL streaming, you have server options. Basically, most streamers you see when they go live, if you lose connection off of that device to Twitch or Kick or whatever platform you're streaming to, your stream is done. It's offline, you're not streaming anymore. So a lot of people go for what's called server options. There's home servering, where you turn around and just use your own IP at your house. Use programs to be able to change the scenes, to be able to keep your upkeep, and you basically can stream RTMP or SRT to your home via that way. But then again, there's also, if you don't want to turn around and risk opening your IP up or figure out the port forwarding and all that, there are services out there. Streamlabs offers a thing, but you can only use their app for that. And then NoRip is the cheapest option out there for a non-interface-based, just straight to interfacing for a server option via NoRip. So, anything you guys want to add to that?
When it comes to like chat applications, there's a good fair amount. I don't recall any of them for the iPhone edition, but for Android, generally a good one to start off with is either start off with either DankChat or Chatson. It's always best to have like chat app with you at most of the times. When people usually do like phone streams, they'll usually have like two in hand, you know. one for the phone and then one for, reading the chat and all that fun stuff. But I do recall that if you do utilize IRL Pro, and I do believe if you use Moblin, it has like the chat integrated. So if you want to just do like just one phone, just work everything off of one phone, you can actually just have like the chat onto that.
Yeah, the nice thing is with a phone is that you get an actual like OBS sort of display in a sense. So everything that you add to your phone, on there you can add overlays directly to the actual phone itself, which is one of the perks, which I do believe I heard about that. It basically, one of the perks is that you have a full OBS display right on your phone to be able to. You can put your alerts on there, you can put overlays, you can put chats, but the cool thing is you can hide what chat sees, what the stream sees, and then you can turn around and have your own feed. Which is one of the major perks to using a phone that a lot of people like, because they don't have to turn around and have a high expensive server and everything for everything else, which we'll get to when we get to backpacks. So anything you want to add?
Yeah, AirMix up there is a weird one. AirMix is actually what LiveView evolved into, it used to be like LiveView or Live Air Solo powered by LiveViews like years and years and years ago. And it's really interesting because you can actually put full videos in there, and you can kind of have different scenes within the one app in there and skip to them and everything. It's better suited for iPads rather than a phone though. So if you've ever thought about streaming on an iPad, now's your chance.
I've been actually seeing some people stream on
Yeah, it's not a terrible
I
idea.
definitely think I've seen that whenever I had a cross
It's
feed on
yeah.
live views and Parks and Rec back in the day. So if you're going to do a phone stream, you're going to want to upgrade it, of course. These are basically just in general covering over things. So the nice thing about an Android is that you can do data bonding, so you can put more hotspots up to it, going via data and cell service and all that. You're definitely going to want to eventually upgrade your microphones, your cameras, your gimbals, anything to basically make it more professional if you're going to try to stick to the phone style streaming. Because the better you can make the quality, then the more enjoyable it is for a streamer. One of the big things about IRL streaming, or just streaming in general, the key points that you always want to do is audio should be your #1, because if you have really, really bad audio, no one's going to sit there and watch your streams. Once you get your audio good, then you upgrade your visuals. Because someone can turn around and just sit there and listen to you talk on a really nice microphone all day long, but if it sounds bad but everything looks pretty, then usually viewers really don't like that. So it's usually typical to try to go for your audio, and then from there go for enhancing everything else with your streams. So then we come to the
Real quick, just remember that if you can go back a slide. Yeah, I need to see. You don't need, most of this stuff is really helpful.
It's just
And just remember to go with the equipment that does work for you. All this stuff is really kind of, once you start getting to use all this stuff, it is really like the best. But, maybe you don't like the JBL speaker because it's too bassy and it's too large, or maybe you don't like the Rode mics, or, so remember to go with what works for you. Maybe you don't want any speakers. Maybe you don't want any of that stuff. Maybe you don't want a mic. Just as most things with streaming, test it out, see what works best for you, and because every IRL stream is different, and things work for some that won't work for others. So just always keep that stuff in mind as well.
Yeah, to add on to that, you just kind of want to go with what you feel is like more comfortable. For me personally, using like the lav mics, I would probably recommend using them going to like a convention and everything, because everything's loud, you can't really hear anything, and that's probably like a good best bet to do that. Or if you're like at a restaurant or something, but they're not really necessary. For the most part.
Yesterday was the first time it happened for me where they're like, "We can't hear you," and I had to put the mic together. So it's never happened, and we've been to a ton of public places.
Yeah, and usually sometimes, I know the Sony Cam has like a really good like pickup on that, but things happen, it gets a little bit noisy.
Yeah.
one of my streamers is having technical issues. If you guys want to take this over real quick.
Yep. You want to start off?
Oh, yeah. Backpack streaming, I feel like a lot of people kind of dance on eggshells when they start backpack streaming. I feel like people kind of like are maybe afraid is too negative of a word, but they're really hesitant or anxious to kind of get started into it. It's so, coming from I'm a big dumb man. Coming from a big dumb man to all of you, it's really easy. It's super, super, super easy. It's actually one of the easier things that I've done. It's very feels good when you accomplish something when like, you know, not really good at like computers and stuff, but I love this thing. It really works, and I was always told, and throughout streaming history from all the years I've seen everybody use this camera, and I can totally see why, because this camera in particular makes, you know, still get a lot of compliments on how the stream looks. The stabilization you see in the VODs, it means so much. Something that you don't really think about is stabilization in your stream. But you can tell when someone like it has a camera that has good stabilization versus someone who is like, you know, it's a really like shaky stream. Eventually, these little things you just really do notice a lot more and more the more you IRL stream. So you, the creator, are noticing it. The audience is definitely going to notice that too. And then everything that this is, it's hands-free. You can use your phone, which was a humongous important thing. I love scootering and electric scootering on stream, and if I'm using my phone, I can't even use the scooter. So it's really nice having a backpack and being able to utilize like everything, including your phone and stuff. And yeah, just way better visuals, better audio, better bit rate. The communities, the IRL, not that you can't really get into IRL communities, you don't need a backpack to get into them, but they're all tech heads and they're all really fun to talk to, and they're all really impressed when it's, you know, they're really great IRL communities. I'm kind of trailing off, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that will literally help out. There's a lot of Discords that, you know, you post like something like, hey, I have like this little tech issue, can you guys help me out? And then someone will just be like, yeah, just do this, this, and this. But to add on to like the cameras, for some that may know, those Sony action cams are pretty much almost non-existent. You can still get some around, but most people kind of recommend those Sony action cams. If you're ever like starting out, you can usually do a like a GoPro or something like that, or like the DJI or the DJI cameras and all that stuff. When it comes to like building a backpack, you kind of want to start out small. You know, make sure you got everything onto the groove on it, and then later on you can just kind of build up and see what you want to work with.
Yeah, which is going to be on the next screen. But like, yeah, they covered all the cons and pros of that.
Before you switch though, I do want to unpack the cons a little bit, because you know, like I said at the beginning, you're going to run into some super random problems. We called it pulling over. Like when we're like walking or somewhere, and then all of a sudden, like you see F's in chat, and I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, I got to pull over real quick. So we go to the side and see. That's going to happen all the time, or sometimes, hopefully. It doesn't happen all the time. It happens like 5 times a stream, maybe. Like
It just really all depends. Like usually, like the small like troubleshooting is like, oh, one of my cords is like loose or something, or
yeah, that happened at Disney. We were at Disney, and my stream kept like going out the whole day, and it was like a new issue. So I asked him, and he said maybe it's this. I asked our other friend, and he said maybe it's this. Our boy Muggles in IRL Tools, he said, oh, make sure to do this. None of those problems actually applied to me. My HDMI had a loose pin, so I just had to change that, and then it was perfect. But you're going to find all these random new problems that you're just going to be like, okay, this is how to troubleshoot this brand new problem that I just have. Expensive. IRL streaming is super expensive because, you know, what's fun about IRL streaming? Eating. Going out to eat. Which is like, you know, the most expensive thing ever. And you don't have to eat, you know, you can pack a lunch at home, like go hiking and stuff, but food is good content, and exploring and new restaurants and stuff like that are really good content. And then there's one more. Oh yeah, backpacks are heavy. My shoulder's kind of fucked up. And like, and that's like a new thing. And I can only associate it to IRL streaming because I've been doing it so much recently and holding my stick. And the backpack is really heavy, so just some things that to consider. Just, you know, make sure to watch your health, exercise, like everything, and yeah, these things do wear on you for sure.
Thanks. Sorry, I'm doing 3
No,
things.
you're good.
I'm very busy today.
You're good.
So when it comes to IRL streaming, and you're running just a backpack to get everything done, the biggest and most difficult part is getting into actually getting an IRL backpack. Backpacks are expensive, they're not cheap, unless you know exactly what you're doing to be able to get into it, which hopefully we can help you out with that. So some of the easiest ways that you can turn around and be able to get into backpack streaming is you can usually sometimes, if you have your partner on Twitch, apparently according to Doobie, that you can...
If you have a partner manager, this is like a secret menu item. They will not tell you this. You can ask them for a backpack. And then they'll look at your sub account, and then they'll say yes or no. But I had a partner manager, they were gonna send me one right before COVID kind of started, and then there was nobody at the headquarters to kind of expedite that for months and a year and whatever. And then eventually, after the fact, I had lost my partner manager. But it is a thing. It is definitely a thing.
And then there's also things like events where you can go to like conventions, like here at DreamHack. We have people who, like Easy IRL, who supply bags to content creators and all that around the convention. It's a great way to get experience, go out, get a feel for it, figure out without having to break the bank to be able to start. Sometimes you can also just ask your friends, if you happen to have a friend who happens to already have a bag, you can be like, hey,
Thank you, Autocratic Fan, for following.
Before I actually go into it, or like, what equipment are you using? How are you doing it? Usually when it comes to bags, there are two encoders that people usually use. You have the Bella Box route, which is sort of the homebrew, cheaper way. You build a Bella Box these days for like $200-ish in that range, depending on what encoder you're going to choose for your base. There's the what is this, the orange?
The Orange Pi 5 Plus. And for clarification, the encoder is the one on your right. Top picture on your right. That's the encoder.
Yeah, so it's this one right here. So this is the encoder setup for
So that one is actually the old school
That's the
Jetson
main
Nano.
Yeah.
That's what they usually, that's what they start off with the first part. During like the early days of the Bella Box, this was kind of like the first thing that came on through, the Jetson Nano. Later on, everything just kind of went on to the Orange Pi. Due to the reasons of the Jetson Nano itself, you had to use a cam link or just like to get any of like sort of like HDMI encoding and all that fun stuff. And generally using like a cam link, it kind of like overheats and all that fun stuff.
Every time.
Yeah. And everyone just evolved into the Orange Pi. And it was just a lot easier. It uses less battery. And it's basically all plug and play.
And speaking of plug and play, usually the really reason most people go for live view these days, which has been the main people who like this was Gun Run originally, the founder basically of IRL streaming when it came to like the setup to make it personal for everyone. He used a live view. Live view is basically the same device that if you happen to watch a newscaster stream live on location, they are using a live view. So basically we've taken that technology and incorporated it to make it so that IRL streamers to be able to stream live on location around at events and all that. If you don't want to build a bag, then there's also, you can just buy pre-built. There is unlimited IRL. They use a live view as their base to be able to do it. They charge upwards about $3,000 in that ball range. That's an investment you want to make. They're literally like, there's no maintenance really with them. Live View is a great company, and if anything ever goes wrong with it, 9 out of 10 times they'll replace the device instantly for you, fix all your issues and all that. They are a little bit more costly. They're more robust. They tend to have slight issues with their HDMI port. I think they're sort of still working on getting that because the devices aren't really meant to be like moved around in a bag on a regular basis. So that's one of the biggest downsides to that. But you also got to remember if you're buying one of those, a live view itself costs over $1,000, which is why Unlimited IRL has theirs as so expensive because basically you're paying for the encoder. And the nice thing about the encoder and what that does is it bonds the networks together. So it allows you to have more than just 2 connections to your stream. You can have upwards of 3, 4. Some devices even allow for 6. There was a guy that I met once that was driving a school bus and he had 12 connections. Completely overkill, but hey. And then beyond that, then you have using Bella Box designs. There's Easy IRL, who is me. I'm the one who turns around and provides these bags for conventions. And then there's also, I do believe it's Anti-Scuff. They sell bags, mostly over in the UK. They have the same price as I am, and they also provide pretty much the exact same encoder. So, and what bags do you guys use?
I run a Bella Box. What do you do?
I also run Bella Box. I think we both run Orange Pi 5 Plus.
I think all of us run Orange Pi.
Yeah.
Orange Pi is cheap. You can build one.
Minimal issues.
You can build one for like $150 to $200 easy.
Yeah.
Next to Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
Provide your own
120.
hotspotting.
Literally the main reason why I do Bella Box, it's cheap. $10 a month, I'm down.
I think the only one downside to the Orange Pi is that if you have an internet connection too close to that device, then it has an issue with the onboard video feed.
See that? That,
only
I think
that.
you tried to help me when we went down to Disney, and that was one of the issues that just for whatever reason, just didn't apply to me. I don't know why, I'm an anomaly. I got here on time from Spirit Airlines though, so. Whatever, through the storm, so I guess I'm just lucky.
Yeah, it must be nice.
I'm like Hurley from Lost.
Everybody else got delayed and canceled.
But yeah, and it's still evolving. IRL Tools has a Box Mini now, like an encoder, and people are starting to use other cameras than this, and like the Osmo?
Yeah, the DJI
That
Osmo.
thing's so cool. So yeah, it's like, people think this is evolving, and I think IRL is getting really big overseas, so it's going to evolve even more, the technology. So I'm surprised Elgato doesn't have an all-in-one backpack right at this point right now.
Yeah, so when you're basically making your own backpack, you can basically do whatever you want into like your own designs. As you can see, everyone's is like completely different. You have like duties over here, you have multiple modems, multiple batteries. So same with my Keo, and with mine, it's just literally modem, encoder, battery. That's it. I just try to do like my best just to make everything slim, don't have to worry about too much about cables, just make everything very much easy.
Yeah, if you think about it, it's just the modem, that's one, it's called a wacky piece, it's not like a traditional thing you're buying. The encoder, that's your other wacky piece, and then everything else is a battery. You buy, it's just a lot of batteries in those two things.
Yeah, whenever you're starting with IRL streaming, you make sure you have plenty of battery and you kind of know how long your duration will be. So the current battery that I have right now will probably last me about a good 10 to 12 hours, just depending on how things run smoothly.
13, unless the encoder battery is the bad one, then 8, but then I just change it out.
And then I also want to backpacks in general. As you can see, everyone's is completely different. You can do something from like a backpack that you just got off of Goodwill, or a hand-me-down, or just something they have lying around. You can basically make anything work. I, however, prefer using a mesh bag, because using those encoders and everything, it just makes everything run a little bit hot. If you see some other RF streamers, they always do fans and all that stuff just to help everything cool things down, but I don't really prefer that. Mostly into the mesh bags.
I just go for, I like a cool looking backpack, and hopefully it doesn't overheat. I was thinking this would overheat, but it really didn't. It's actually one of the better backpacks I've used. But I have a friend who's making me a cool machine that has a fan going in and a fan going out for an IRL backpack. So
Yeah, my design over here has fans
it's fucking
to blow out. If you notice on this, there's actually these wonderful devices that you might see. They all look exactly the same. They're the big net gears. Those are how people are providing data to these bags, which is the most difficult thing to be able to figure out for IRL, is figuring out your data provider, because you sadly cannot just go to AT&T and be like, hey, I want unlimited data from you right this second. Because they're going to hit you with data caps, and then you're going to run out of internet, and then your stream's going to go down, and now you're like, now what? So there's plenty of different people out there who have figured out how to get unlimited data. I personally, all my devices, they went through Visible. Visible is a Verizon partner, and they turn around and will provide you with unlimited data via cell phones. People have figured out a way to get them onto net gears, but in my opinion, it's just a lot easier to run it directly off of just the cell phone still, because you just put on Android, make it so it automatically connects, and boom, you got tethering, unlimited data instantly. There's definitely other options. Unlimited IRL for their bags, they turn around and they offer unlimited data, I do believe, for Verizon and AT&T at the exact same time through LiveView, because again, they're dealing with people who do a bunch of newscasts and stuff like that, so they want the best connection they can get. Those usually run about $400 a month for their data bills. So that's where usually the big thing with people is oh, internet, it's going to cost me an arm and a leg. It can be expensive if you don't know where to look, so hopefully we can give you some options. I don't know who MVNO is.
MVNO is just that's just the term for Visible. So Visible is a MVNO of Verizon. So what that basically means is that they're using their cell towers.
Okay.
But generally Visible is kind of the top deal that you can do. I think it's $35.
It's $45 a month for starting, and then if you get an invite code, they take $20 off the first month.
Yeah,
So-
but it's unlimited everything. You can literally stream all day, have like 1,000 terabytes of like data. It's
Yeah, I
unlimited.
literally burned through gigs on these bags off of a thing. The only downside to Visible is that they have a security measure where they will not let you multi-SIM for accounts, which is the most annoying part. So if you do go with Visible, you have to have multiple emails to be able to sign up every single SIM that you want. Usually you don't need more than like 2. That's usually a good basis to be able to IRL stream. So 2 SIMs, $45 a month. You turn around, if you're doing Bella Box, you include that, then the run it back is only $100, which is a whole lot cheaper than a lot of people think. So, and then for when it comes to like other major providers like Verizon and T-Mobile, there are ways to sort of like spoof your phone, your personal phone, to send the data and bypass data provider security. But if you do that, then you're risking your account being shut down. So be careful with that if you decide.
Yeah, if you're just looking for like a mobile service, just kind of like do a little bit of research, find what's kind of like the good middle grounds, just seeing like what's like good for like your value. If all things visible is out there, if you want, you can check other MVMOs. There's Cricket, which runs through AT&T, and I believe it's like $35, but you do have those data caps and all that stuff. But if you want to do like anything like cheap, just kind of like look in those MVMOs and just kind of like go for that. On the downside of those, some of them do have deprioritization, which just means if there's like a whole bunch of people in one area that are running AT&T, the people that have like AT&T services will get those
We'll have higher priority.
will have higher priority, and then if you're by yourself.
And then there's also international. Like everyone's always worried about international, which is why most people go with unlimited IRL because they provide unlimited national data and all that. The thing about it is, if you happen to go somewhere like New Zealand or Australia or anything like that, you can literally go to most travel agencies and be like, hey, I need a local SIM, $2 or $3 a day for like 4 or 5 gigs, easy. International travel costs you maybe like $40 while you're there, and then you're set for your data. You'll be able to enjoy the whole thing. You do need a cell phone for those that are unlocked though. You will need an unlocked phone to make sure that you have the correct matching provider, because the phones have 2 different NAIs or whatever it is. So, and then when we were talking about the beginning with like different types of IRL streaming, like again, like you don't have to like stream with a bag. You can turn around and stream from your kitchen via your cell phone. You can turn around and do different types of streaming. Like again, I used to stream truck driving, which is this one right here. Had a full laptop on my dash. That laptop ran directly into a live view, and then I had like 12 cameras hooked up to that thing, and was just streaming traveling around the United States. It was great. People loved it. You got freaking Sushi Dragon down here. He turned his whole entire studio in his. He turned a whole bus, a whole little van, into like a live streaming studio. Multiple PCs, multiple cameras, all sending the information out via a live view and Bella Box to his home server and all that. And Koopa, super cool if you're ever up in Seattle, all the way over there. He has stores where he sells things, and he just live streams IRL. You get the boxes in his IRL backpack. This is his store. It's pretty much his store security camera at this point. It's great. He does giveaways too in his chat if you happen to like ever hop by there. Anything you guys know like other types of streaming that's just like way out there?
So another thing I've been seeing is like public DJing, like
That was a TwitchCon.
what Aria at Home does. So basically, someone's like wearing like a 50-pound bag, and they have like a whole entire Lavanda, yeah. They just have like a whole entire DJ set, and they're just doing their whole entire set, just like walking down the strip or just something like that. To me, I just find that fascinating.
That's amazing.
And yeah, there's just like, there he is right there. There's just like so much that you can just like do with it. Like I said, the world is yours.
A lot of people, this next one, a lot of people ask me like, first they mostly ask me like, how do you go out in public with a camera and like talk and keep talking and stuff without like people looking at you and stuff? And that definitely, you get over it. Because at this point, I think, especially at Disney, people really, like, you get every kind of that kind of thing. You get people who just straight up ask you, like, are you on YouTube? Or, like, there's a lot of streamers at Disney nowadays, and then you just get people who just kind of, like, creep and, like, look and try to, like, just, like, that is weird. But etiquette, that, like, fully falls into etiquette because when in public, it's best to just be respectful. How how you expect someone to like act in your home. I sound like an adult. I'm old, but that kind of stuff, and It's really easy to be respectful and to kind of bring, like last night we went to this cybercade, and we always ask, because of the backpack, I'm like, hey, is it okay if I stream? And the answer was no, but he just kind of had a good feeling about me, and he let us stream. He eventually just didn't care. So you just got to bring, good etiquette. There's a lot going on in IRL streaming nowadays that is really undesirable. So it's just really good as IRL streamers to kind of promote respectful etiquette, I think, maybe to a responsibility.
Also, just make sure you never do anything illegal.
Yeah. Generally, IRL in general, some people see it as like a bad rep and all that stuff. It's just best to have good etiquette because it's just going to come to the point where, because I know recently in Japan they're slowly down like tourism where you can't like do any IRL streaming in general.
Yeah.
And
we're not allowed speakers. There were like more IRL rules and restrictions.
Exactly.
Because of undesirable acts, and without them, we would just be like, yeah, come on, IRL stream, it's cool.
It just one small event, one small thing happens, and then we can't. It's going to come to the point where it's like you can't even bring a camera in general. So
yeah, it's going to start saying on the rules, no IRL streaming. I came into a problem with the Ren Fair recently, where I like to ask ahead of time, hey, is it okay if we bring this? And I got very odd responses from them, like super odd responses. No IRL streaming is allowed, like a lot of like, very like, when we got there, there was a few people IRL streaming, but either way, it's always good to like ask these things. You don't want to like come to the situation where you brought your whole shit and then you get there and they're like, no, you can't. That's a pain. That's a bummer, always.
yeah, that's always like the point where you're just
Yeah.
like, oh, I brought my whole entire setup. I'm ready to press the start button.
Yeah.
The first 5 seconds, hey, you can't come in.
So yeah, also, leaking personal information. You gotta pay for stuff all the time, using your phone. These things can slip. You don't want a phone number. You don't want a credit card number to slip. And there's a lot of cool solutions. I think Keo right here has like a cover for his credit card.
Yeah, those little
so
things.
your numbers are like hidden. You can just use it whenever you want. And yeah, don't commit crimes on stream. That's a big one. Driving. Is driving in this one?
Yes.
You do driving, but remember, if you're going to do driving and streaming is not illegal, it's the act of reading your chat and being distracted while you're driving.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do that, it's great to use a text-to-speech, be a sellout, make money, be like, oh, hey, guys, it's 100 bits to say hi to me while I'm driving. Like, I can't read my chat. Because I can tell you now, most of the big streamers who are like, oh, I'm going to try out IRL streaming, and they start driving their car to go somewhere, and they're sitting there like, yeah, chat, we're just driving down the interstate. And it's just like, boom, whole stream offline because they turned around and got banned because they were doing something illegal. So
it's still like kind of not a hot button issue, but it's something that's been popping up a lot more. People getting into trouble while driving and everything, and it's like, it can be done. Like, let's not ruin another thing and it's not like the desire to drive and stream is something that's so great. It's the other positive pro about having a backpack is you can take it. You can take it with you somewhere. And it's, the driving on stream can be really aesthetically pleasing for people, and if done right, it's actually like really fun.
And then, final, do you guys have any questions about? Did we not cover anything or anything that you're interested in? What you got back there?
I was just curious if you have any cool specific stories about things that have happened that you've done, like when backpack streaming that you wouldn't have been able to do on just a normal phone stream, like the backpack enabled you to do that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot. Disneyland, for example, that's just one kind of surface. Like, every time I brought a phone, there's all these spots where the stream just goes down. But I covered that already. I guess, I'm not sure. You can kind of phones. Let me just make sure I understand the question right. Something, a story.
Like cool moments you've had on stream that you knew were enabled by the fact that you didn't have to deal with the phone. You had a backpack instead.
Well, I mean, just having it in general is really kind of, I guess, peacocky. I guess like you're kind of like sticking out, and a lot of people just have come forward, and I guess it's an interesting thing to talk about. I don't know if there's any cool stories about just having the back. What about you?
Oh man, it's very like specific too. Because like most of the time I go like to conventions with like the backpack, or it just really depends on the spot that you go to. But can we just go with like your best like streaming experience, IRL streaming experience?
I mean, I have something.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
for me in general, if I didn't have a backpack, I probably would have never even ever started this whole business, because it was DreamHack at San Diego. Me having a backpack is what opened up the door to be like, hey, is anyone at this convention interested in IRL streaming? And the fact that I had a bag made it so that I could turn around and be able to introduce streaming to another creator. His name's Smirky, he's actually one of my best friends now because of it, and it's been super great because it's opened up so many doors between every single DreamHack to the point where I'm actually officially working with him now. So that's the great part. But,
Yeah, that's awesome. I love Smurfy. I honestly can't. I mean, I guess we did a fun fast food like challenge stream where I drove through a bunch of fast food places.
That's given on your phone, right? Like,
I never.
I mean, it's easier to get a backpack rig on a roller coaster than it is a phone. That's what I made it.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So like I went to Disney World and I built a bag that was in a fanny bag. So I put the whole entire rig in a fanny bag and then had a chest mount that ran the wires basically around my body to the fanny pack. So everything was nice and tight so that nothing was moving. And I could ride any ride I want. I didn't care because it was just like, oh, you just have a fanny pack. Why didn't I GoPro? They couldn't see the wires. It was just strict. So we were live streaming. We were freaking riding roller coasters, the whole 9 yards. It was fantastic. We did lose internet in some areas where it was really bad.
Yeah, of course.
Also, when you move too fast, you lose cell service, apparently.
Yeah.
It makes concerts a lot more interesting, like when, because of Matt Heafy and now musicians on Twitch are a lot bigger, IRL streaming has become more accessible and well known between the music community and everything. So that's always interesting when they're like, because now, it used to be when I would, go out, people wouldn't really know anything about Twitch and stuff, but now people will ask you oh, are you on Twitch? Are you on YouTube? And then it's really fun to talk to normies in that sense, I guess.
yeah.
Dads at Disney.
Yeah.
If you're streaming at a concert, do you stream the concert or do you stream yourself in the? It's like the experience
Yeah.
of being in.
So I usually, I wouldn't go to, little A, little B. A long time ago, there was a time where I was like, I work at a dispensary. I used to be the dispensary guy for bands coming through on Warped Tour and stuff. So I got to go backstage a bunch one year. So it wasn't like, if I'm going to a concert as a patron, it's probably not allowed. But in that other sense, I like the experience, like being at Warped Tour and handing out stickers and going to the merch booths and eating fries and shit. And then breaking it up by going to see a band and stuff, definitely. I'll go to shows now and film the band and everything. I will film the band. Yeah, sorry, bad ADHD response.
I remember streaming a experience at Punk in the Park over in San Francisco. I was mostly doing the phone stream and all that, but most of the time it was half of it was either showing the band or either showing the pit or either showing myself in the pit. First things first, it's very hard to do that, trying to get yourself to into the pit. If you have a friend or buddy, you can be like, hey, hold the phone real quick and watch me throw down. There's also the sense of the DMCA and all that stuff. Just a
You
post
get
on.
split audio from the musicians. So.
Yeah.
But
At that point, it's so loud that how are they supposed to know this is Taylor Swift?
But at that point, if you're going to a concert, you can, I guess, guarantee that you're going to get muted. I feel like if you're going to, at that point, are you streaming the concert for YouTube content or other, you know how you stream and then you take that content, you upside down everywhere else.
You be careful. Most of the time, the audio in those concerts, they would just blow out the microphone. So the stream, all they hear is just a bunch of bass. So.
What's also nice about the IRL Pro, you can actually adjust that.
Any other questions? We got I think it's 9 more minutes.
To piggyback on that question real quick, I think the important thing at concerts or wherever you go or a park or something is have a somewhere to go progressively. Like if you're going to a beach, it's really easy because everything's in your way. You can keep making stops. You can, oh, let's get a scooter. Oh, let's go on the boardwalk. Oh, let's actually sit on the beach. Let's go to the store. But if you're going to a concert, make sure you can like progressively do something. Like, oh, maybe we'll get a drink and hang out there. Maybe we'll talk to the bartender. Maybe we'll watch this band. We'll talk to the artist. We'll, something like this. Kind of like the same thing.
What's been your favorite IRL stream you've done? Like if you pick one as your favorite.
This trip with all of you here.
Aww.
I mean, Disneyland is like always so fun. The one time where we got into Chef Toad's at Universal in Mario. And yeah, that's cool. That was really fun. That was the best.
Mine had to be streaming TwitchCon, I think it was 2019. I just basically walked around and was like, yo, can we turn around and be cringe and just see how many like views we could get? Nothing happened of it. I ended up embarrassing myself, but hey, it was still a blast. Walking up to people like, hey, do you know who I am? No? Hi, my name is Yublita.
I think my probably favorite IRL experience was being the tackle guy for NMP Law. That was pretty interesting. So all I just did was, he couldn't make it to TwitchCon EU, so he had a thought process of just literally giving me a Discord call. It's just his face and Milena the whole entire time. And I'm just literally walking through the convention. It's like, hey, you want to do a meet and greet with Nick? And so like some of the pictures, just like, they're just having their arm around me and just like, hey, I'm taking a picture with Nick and Milena. It's like, oh, this is hilarious. Yeah. Just like some silly stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Anyone any more questions?
I mean, maybe that the Warped Tour the year before the last. That was great because that just doesn't happen anymore. Warped Tours.
Anything else?
Yeah, you know what? Sure.
What you got?
Actual legitimate question. So like with the batteries that you have, right? How long does that last throughout the day?
I have one bad battery, and that one causes the encoder to go at 8 hours, but everything runs, honestly, like 12, 13 hours straight. All of them, and then they'll all die at once. And they're all fully different size batteries. It's so cool.
Yeah, mine just runs probably about at least like 10 to 12 hours. It just depends on the weather aspect as well. Because if everything runs hot, it kind of like slowly like deteriorates. But with my backpack, I'm just literally running a modem, the encoder, and then running the camera just all at once, just under one battery. And if it ever dies down, I can just switch to the phone.
But the battery that you have, I think Stupler runs like everything off of the one. Are you running everything off the one battery?
I run it
Okay. I run a battery for the camera, the encoder, and the modem separately.
Well, because like what I'm saying is like, so you guys I've been around with you guys. You're streaming like 72 hours on TwitchCon, and it almost seems like uninterrupted the whole time.
A lot of that time is everything's off. Like I was on overnight, and I just left it on overnight. But this all was off, so I was just charging everything.
It's also nice to have like some backup batteries
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
like 20 backup batteries, 200 backup batteries.
Related to that,
Going
how
up.
long does it take to charge them?
Say it one more time?
Is it really long charge though too? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
It depends on the battery.
Very.
Like I use 60 milliamp watt batteries, which allow for like 4 USBs and then a Type C. If you Type C, most of these Type Cs these days will fast charge. So like I can plug one of these batteries and then the whole battery will be charged in like 2 hours. So
Yeah, it just really all depends on the battery pack and what kind of cables you're using, what kind of charger you're using. For the one that I'm using right now, it probably takes maybe 4 to 6 hours. So usually when I'm done with the night, make sure to throw it in the charger real quick, because if you don't, you're kind of having a bad time for the rest of the day.
Yeah, my mantra for that is like the rule of 3s, maybe 4s. 1 while you're streaming, 1 to back that one up, 1 on reserve, and if you're super neurotic like me, a 4th one without backup. And then you're set, and you're good.
it's like flows usually you have 8-10 hours, like a good full day of streaming.
Exactly.
Charge it overnight, and then you can do it again the next day.
Yeah, and if you need to do 24, you can just swap it all out,
Got it.
charge that, and then you have a 3rd one that's like charged.
because if you're running a backpack, you're running to a server at that point. So I just run a battle swap. It's like, hey, I'm gonna BRB real quick, chat. BRB, swap the batteries, straight to backup. You're good to go.
Yeah, what I usually like to do, I remember doing this a lot on TwitchCon. I think I ran like 19 hours just straight IRL. So what I would do is just head back to the hotel, put that thing on the charge and just kind of like run everything like through the phone, just kind of like.
Oh, so you can swap halfway through the stream, like between the phone and your backpack as you need.
Yeah, yeah. So if at anything, I can turn that off right now, and then I can just pull out the phone, just go like
Okay.
that. That's what I really like about it, just kind of like being hybrid
Yeah.
about it. But yeah.
I think we have time for one more question before I have to end. Anything else? No? All right, well, thank you guys so much for hanging
Thank
out.
you.
today.
Yeah,
Thank you guys so much, dudes. Appreciate y'all.
Oh, if you guys have any questions, feel free to send us a Discord message.
Yeah, whatever
Hit us
y'all
up
want
on
to know.
Twitter. The community for this is really outstanding. Like, if you have like a small issue or you're just very curious on certain things, either hit us up. There's a lot of Discord servers that help out. There's Easy IRL,
Yeah.
for example. There's
I'm always accepting DMs. Like I help like quite a few streamers who were just like, hey, I don't want to use a bag at your convention. I just want to know how to get mine up and going. And I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, here's some information. I got you. DMs are always open. So
Do an IRL stream of making the bag for somebody else.
That's fine.
Could do that, yeah.
All right.
I thought about it.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much, dudes. Have
If you guys have any
fun
questions,
streaming.
we'll be around.